Hey guys, my name's Kyla, and I'm your host of That Christian Girl podcast, a podcast that's devoted to helping Christians of all walks of life be inspired and encouraged to reach their full godly potential. Thank you so much for listening today, and I hope you enjoy. Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of That Christian Girl podcast. I'm your host, Kyla, and I am so excited for today's episode. So today I'm going to be introducing myself and this podcast. So who am I and who is this podcast? So I am so excited today, and let's jump right into it. So, I am Kyla, as you've probably already figured out, and I live in northwestern Montana. So the part of Montana that you think of when you think of Montana. So all of the mountains and the pretty scenery and everything. And I'm so blessed to live here because it's beautiful and God's glory is just revealed, I think, every single day in my surroundings, and I'm super blessed. I love it. It's amazing. And I'm a high school student. I'll be a senior next year. School just got out, so woohoo! Junior year's done. But I will be a senior next year, and I'm very, very excited. But I go to public school, so that comes with its fair share of struggles, and I'll definitely get into that a little bit more when school is starting back up again, because I hope that some of y'all go to public school and I can really be helpful with you guys. Yeah, so next what I have written down is my testimony. So this is going to be a tiny mini testimony, not like my full testimony, because I want to keep this episode shorter. But yeah, I'm just going to share a little bit about myself and how I came to know the Lord and just, dig into my history just a tiny bit. But I do have another podcast episode planned to talk about more of my struggles and how that helped me grow closer to the Lord. And yeah, there's definitely going to be more episodes about struggles that I know other people have gone through, and just how the Lord has gotten me through that, and just dive in deep a little bit more into that. So let's just do the tiny testimony now. So I have split parents. I grew up, my parents were always split, and that has come with its fair share of struggles, perfect Christian family, and I definitely did not have that. So that, I guess, set me apart a little bit, and that has really, really influenced me, I think, my whole life. But that being said, my mom is a Christian, so I grew up Christian. She's really great. I love her so much. And I go to my dad's house every other weekend because he lives 2 hours away from us. But I'm just blessed to have both of them in my life, and I'm just thankful that my mom is a Christian and that she has taken us to church and really just poured God into us and me and my sisters, because that's one of my biggest blessings, is having that influence from such a young age. I think I can't even remember the first time that I went to church. It's been so long. But that being said, this is where it gets hard, because when you grow up as a Christian, I think your whole life you just think, yeah, I'm a Christian, I go to church on Sundays and youth group on Wednesdays, and boom, I'm a Christian, that's me. So I think there's something to be said about how even if you grow up as a Christian, your testimony can still be powerful, because I'll hear all of these powerful testimonies and I'll be like, wow, I don't have anything like that. Why am I set apart? But I think it's just something so beautiful from that point that you decide and choose, hey, I'm going to take my faith into my own hands, and I'm going to really pour into my Christianity because I want it. Not because I've grown up like this, not because it's something that has always been and always will be. No, I want to be a Christian, and I'm going to really pour into my faith So I am so glad that that happened for me, and that was last summer. So I started taking my faith more seriously. I'll go into this a little bit more, that I had a really, really bad relationship with this one guy. It did not last long. It was like less than a month, but still. I think it really inspired me to pour into my faith more and take it more seriously. Because, I took it seriously, but not as seriously as I should have taken it. So last summer, it was amazing. I remember, talking to my friend and being like, hey, do you want to go to a coffee shop with me and maybe read our Bibles? So we decided to meet, and there's this amazing local coffee shop that has Christian owners, and it was just really wonderful meeting there with her. I remember reading First Peter, and I think that's when I really just decided, hey, this is for me. I want to do this because this is something that is wonderful and beautiful, and I want to get into this more. So, yeah, I think last summer was when I really grew in my faith, and that was such a blessing. And I remember at the start of the school year, it definitely was still going strong after the Lord. I decided at the start of school year I was gonna buy another Bible. I have so many Bibles, but that's the one that you'll see on my Instagram because that's the one that I do my Bible journaling in, because I was like, I am going to start reading my Bible every day and journal in it. And that was really good. And I remember reading books. I got really into some books, and then disaster struck. Junior year, I think, has been the hardest year of my entire life. So I was not perfect from the start of the year to the end of the year. By no means. I lost so many friends this year, and I lost my number one friend who was the biggest Christian influence on my life, and that was so hard, and I felt myself grow away from the Lord a little bit, because I was like, how can somebody that, is so Christian and, you can just see the love of the Lord, and she's told me many times that she can see that in me, but then how did it all go up in flames? It was such a good friendship, and I really had to work through that, and I'm so glad to be on the after edge after of that, because it's been hard. It's been really, really hard, but I'm so glad that I got through that, because I think that junior year being the toughest time of my entire life has really helped me really want to run after the Lord, especially this summer, and just really pour into my faith and try and become the best version of myself that I can be. And yeah, so that's my testimony. By no means I'm perfect. I still really struggle with a lot of things, but I have decided not to be a lukewarm Christian anymore. I've decided to share my faith more, and this is the way that I'm trying to share it, and just try and really run hard after the Lord, especially this summer, and then do it throughout my senior year too. And like I said, that's my testimony. Thank you for listening. If any of you can relate, I feel you, girl. Or guy. If you're a guy, you're welcome here too. But I feel you. And if you ever need any help or anything, just DM me. I'll talk about my Instagram a little bit later, but DM me if you have any questions or if you need some encouragement, because trust me, I've been through a lot, and the moment that you decide, hey, I'm going to make my faith my own, I'm going to run hard after the Lord, it's really the moment when your life turns around. So I'm so excited to start that with you guys. Okay. Anyways, after that, I am going to just talk about my hobbies, and yeah, so that's really fun. So, kind of what I spend my time doing. I do a lot, but my main thing is that I love the outdoors. I have a dog. His name is Dash. He is the cutest, sweetest little thing. He is a mini Australian Shepherd. So if you know anything about Australian Shepherds, they're working dogs and they're so energetic. It's insane. But I love him, and lately I've been going on a lot of walks with him, which is super exciting for me because I love the outdoors and I love getting outside. And I'm like, I live in such a pretty place. Why don't I get outside more? So I've been trying to get outside more, and yeah, I just love spending time outdoors, like hiking. Hiking's the big one. I also like bike riding, although I don't do that as much. But yeah, so outdoors, that's really big part of my life. I'm also pretty creative, so I sew and I crochet, and yeah. Okay, and then I love music. Music has been one of like the big influencers on my life. If you ever see me, I'm usually listening to music through my AirPods. And then also I play the alto saxophone in my band, and I know I'm not the best guitar player, but I do know how to play. I've been playing that for about a year. And then also, I know how to do chords on piano, but I'm not the best. So sometimes I'll make up my own songs and stuff, so that's really fun. But I don't really do that much anymore. I like doing it, but I would say, like, hey, I love songs and I love songwriting, but I don't do it a lot, so I'm hoping to try and do that a little bit more. And then my last thing is reading. I love reading. A good fiction book. Mwah. And maybe I'll do an episode on, like, good books that I've read, because something that's, like, so inspiring for me is reading a Christian book. Oh my gosh, I cannot explain how much I love this one book. It's called Lady in Waiting, and it's like, I'm going to definitely do an episode about that, especially if I talk about dating, because I definitely have some not horror stories, but I definitely have some, like, stuff about that. So if I talk about that, I'm definitely going to talk about that book, and I might do just a whole episode on good book recommendations, and just, you'll definitely hear me talk about Christian books a lot. Reading is a big part of my life. I love reading. Just getting outside and reading is so amazing. Yeah, and that's mainly about me. I'm probably gonna talk about me a little bit more, because, like, how can I have a podcast without you knowing me, you know? So in other episodes, I'll definitely talk about things that I've been through to just try and relate to you guys, and yeah. So next order of business is this podcast. I have this little piece of paper that I wrote down stuff, because actually this is my second or third take, although the first take, there was really bad background noise, because sometimes my computer gets really hot, and the fans are so loud, so, like, it was really, really bad audio quality, so I had to redo that. The first two, yeah, I think it was two of them had really bad audio quality, but I decided to also make a little bit of a list here, because be a little bit more prepared, because the first two takes were kind of all over the place, and I know this one might be all over the place too, because that's kind of how my brain works, but that's fine. I hope you guys are laughing along with me. So I kind of have, like, why and what. So first, why is this podcast? Like, why is this a thing? Kyla, why did you want to start a podcast? So this comes with a little bit of a background story. So at work, I work at a gym, and I work in custodial. So I clean, and it's really, really easy for me to just start overthinking my life or just not have anything to think about, and I get so overly bored at work because it's just the same thing over and over and over again, which is good because I need routine in my life, but sometimes it's a little bit too much routine, and I'm like, hey, people, stop, I need something different. And the way that I've found that I can combat the work boredom is listening to podcasts. Like, I listen to them pretty fast, so I get through quite a lot in one shift because I have like 2.5-hour shifts. But I have just been like really loving podcasts. So I have really gotten into like improving yourself for summer. So like you might have heard of Hot Girl Summer, but I was like, well, what about Holy Girl Summer? Because I was listening to one that's like Summer Glow Up for Summer, and it was like a 4-part series, and it was great until the lady was like no hate on her, but then she started talking about like her spirituality or something, and I was like, but that's not me. I need something that's more faith-based, you know? So I really dug into the more faith-based side of things, and I found a few episodes, but I didn't really find any that was like that girl, but Christian, you know? So I was like, I just felt, I guess, maybe called to do this, the wanting in your chest, like when you think of the idea and you feel called to it. I don't know, I kind of felt called to this, and yes, I definitely prayed about it. And I was like, is this a good idea? Is this not a good idea? Because I'm only in high school. I'm not, by no means am I having like by no means am I a person who like studied Christianity at college and is super qualified for this. But then I was listening to this one podcast that I like. It's called Holy Girl Hotline. I really like them. The problem is that they don't have many episodes, and I don't think they really have a set posting schedule. So that was hard for me because I flew through those. But they were talking about, like, am I qualified? And about their struggles, and that was like, maybe I might not be the most qualified, but I'm gonna figure it out along the way, and I'm gonna trust God to really help me pour into others and pour into myself in this, and I hope that he uses this podcast and stuff. Even if I'm not the most qualified person, I want to do this, and I feel like it's I have the feeling that it's something that will be good and something that God can work through in my life and hopefully others too. And just like, I felt called to do it. So I was like, I should do this. The next one is what? So, like, what is this podcast about? You might be seeing the title and you might be like, that Christian girl podcast. So I love Pinterest. Oh my goodness gracious. Pinterest is my favorite. It's just so pretty. It makes me so happy. But there's this whole aesthetic that I'm really into. It's called the That Girl aesthetic. And it's like improving yourself. So working out, eating healthy, doing amazing things, and becoming the best version of yourself. And I was like, I really like that. So I was listening to a lot of podcasts on like That Girl and stuff, but I didn't really see a podcast that was like Christianity based, That Girl. And I've definitely gotten inspo from this one influencer called Ashley Hetherington. I think I probably spelled her name, pronounced her name wrong, but she's I think in her mid-20s, and she's made like videos about like that girl but Christian and stuff, and she's just like a super big influence and inspiration, and I love her. But I was like, why doesn't she have a podcast? Because she's literally that girl but make it Christian, and she doesn't. But I was like, I really want a podcast and something to inspire me to really become like that girl but make her Christian. So I really hope that this inspires you. to really become like the quote-unquote best version of yourself, and just really improve yourself. And I feel like summer is the best time to start, so this is why I'm starting it this summer, because summer it's just kind of the season that you feel like you're living your best life, because you don't have school, and even if you work, I feel like work sometimes can slow down, or you take vacations more, and summer just has the best feeling to it. So that's kind of what this podcast is aiming at, is to become, quote unquote, that girl, the girl who looks like she has her life together and is working out and eating healthy, but then also putting in Christian values in that, like spending time in the Word and Christian community and just all of that stuff. So I hope that this will inspire you, because I feel like it's gonna inspire me a little bit, but I hope it inspires you too. And then now I'm just gonna talk about like looking forward to some of the stuff to come. So my plan is to post every Tuesday and Friday during the summer. I know once school starts, that is not going to be like good for me because senior year I'm taking, I think almost every single one of my classes are AP classes. If you don't know what that means that it's a college level course, and then you go a little bit faster, so then you can get a college credit after you take this test. But that means that 90% of my classes are going to be AP level classes, so we're going to be struggling for a little bit, and I hope that I can really keep this up, because this is just making me so excited, and I'm so excited to start this, and I really hope that, you guys love it too, and I really hope that I can continue it, but I know that I'll probably only be posting Tuesdays, or I might relook at my schedule and be like, okay, maybe not Tuesdays, maybe we should post a different day during the week. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be posting during the summer, and my first few episodes are going to be my Holy Girl Summer episodes. So once this is posted, the part 1 of Holy Girl Summer is going to be posted too. Once you're done listening to this, make sure to go check out Holy Girl Summer part 1. I'm pretty sure it's going to be 4 parts. I don't think it's going to be 5, but it's mainly going to be talking about going into summer, because that's what I'm doing, and about how to be like, have a Holy Girl Summer and just really improve yourself this summer and put in some good like habits. So the first episode is going to be Holy Girl Habits. So that's going to be talking about like habits, and then I'll also talk about goal setting and consistency, and then also like your bodily health, so working out and eating well and stuff. And then I'm also going to do like routines, like a 2-part series about my routines, so morning and night, and talk about like my ideal routine, and then also talk about what it sometimes ends up looking like, because I do not have my ideal routine every single day. Definitely not. Okay, and then next, I'm gonna definitely talk about struggles. I know I've talked about that a little bit, but I'm gonna talk about the struggles that I go through and stuff. And then also, I'm gonna kind of go into my own life and reading my Bible and praying and stuff, and then I'll do some about books, probably. Hopefully I can get into more like biblical books this year, and I might talk you guys through those books too, because I have some that I really want to read, and that sound really good. So, the last order of business is just a call to action. Go follow my Instagram. So you can find me on Instagram at thatchristiangirl.podcast, where I'll be posting like updates on the podcast itself, and then also just like probably it's gonna turn into a little bit, not an influencer-y, but just I'll share photos of like my Bible studies and what I'm doing, and just kind of like that aesthetic Instagram that you want to follow, but Christian, like that girl Instagram, but Christian, and then also talk about the podcast. So fun things will be on there. And then also, if you ever want to DM me, go ahead. I'd love to read your DMs if you are struggling with anything, or if you have episode ideas, or if you just want to talk. I'm up to talk. So just DM me whenever if you are struggling, or if you have any episode ideas, because I know I'll probably run out of some once I really get going. So if you ever want to hear something from me, I'll definitely try and make your idea come to life, because I've definitely seen holes in podcasts, like, oh, I love that you talk about this, but where's an episode about this? So if you ever have any episode ideas that's like, hey, you should really explore this topic a little bit more, 100% send them to me, please. And yeah, so just go follow me on Instagram. I'll be there. And then make sure to follow or subscribe to this podcast. And I am so excited to start this journey with you guys. Okay, bye. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you for listening to the end. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at thatchristiangirl.podcast. I'll see you in the next one.